Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining me. I'm Jill Bloom, group publisher of Walls and Ceilings, and thank you for joining me for a special episode of If Walls Could Talk. It's always an honor to have Trent Cotney, the partner of Adams and Reese. Trent, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, Jill, it's good to see you.
So, Trent, we were just talking before we got on, kind of an important topic when it comes to all contractors out there. How do Let's talk about how an owner should handle when it comes to training and just talking to their sales force to make sure that they're always out there staying honest and not not doing things to kind of make the job a little bit more exciting.
Right, right. So I get these calls all the time, right? It's salespeople that go too far, and oftentimes that's what leads the companies into trouble. And it's difficult, right? Because your salespeople are normally paid on commission. The more they sell, the more money they make. And this is the case regardless of whether you use 1099s or you have W-2s. That's a whole different conversation. But um, one of the things that I think is critical is Jill is making sure that there's sufficient oversight, right? And let me explain what I mean by that. And I'm trying to figure out the best way to talk about it. So what I like to do is I start with the agreement itself or the employee manual itself, whatever governs their relationship, right? And I make sure I spell out the do's and the don'ts there. And the reason why you want that is that let's say they go and they start saying, "Hey, I can get you a free roof," which is a no-no in every single state because every customer has to pay the deductible. Then you can say you've got policies and procedures that say the exact opposite of that. So that's the first step. The second step is you want management oversight in the contract signing process. So if you leave the proposal solely in the hands of the salesperson and there's little or no review or oversight by management, that's where I see a lot of problems happening, right? Because they run wild, they promise everything, and you see a lot of mistakes there. The other thing that I like to also do is have a operations or a management touch point after the salesperson has got the proposal is tendering it over so that you can get work done. I like a follow up, a follow through there between operations or management with the customer to talk a little bit more about the process, about what things are going to happen. Do you have any questions? Do you have any comments? Do you have any concerns? All that kind of stuff. Okay, absolutely critical. And one of the last things that I'll mention, Jill, is you really want to make sure that you have control of the contact information. So I've had some situations where the salespeople are the only person communicating with the customer. And if for some reason things go bad with that salesperson, you're lost, right? So you
Sure.
need to make sure that you're looped in there and that you have at least a touch point, with operations and management.
And so what would be the protocol if you have a situation where you feel like one of your salespeople has gone too far and there's even if it's hit like the local media, the local TV stations, because it seems like, contractors are outside. And so a lot of times they either get caught on camera or they've just made a bad choice. What happens from there?
So that's why I think it's important to have those policies and procedures in place, regardless of whether it's an independent salesperson agreement or an employee manual. If you've got a salesperson that's fabricating claims or is, saying stuff that they shouldn't do, violating the door-to-door laws, whatever it might be, you want to have some deniability there, right? You want to say, look, we train all our salespeople on what to do. This is clearly in violation of our policies and procedures. As a result, we've terminated them, or here's the punishment we've doled out. We do not accept this. This is not our customer policy, and we do our best to make things right, that kind of thing. I'm always very, very careful about dealing with the press, usually, not, present company excluded. But when you're asked to comment on things, you need to be very, very careful about what you say.
For
Oftentimes,
sure.
but yeah,
And
that's generally a
yeah,
good rule of thumb.
and that's a great topic that we've talked about some success before on the roofing side, but whether it's on walls and ceilings or roofing contractor, if the local media does show up to your office, what is the policy that you should have in place? What's the first like two or three things that everybody, no matter if they call you on the phone, if they walk in the door, what do you recommend?
So the first thing, you need a standard operating procedure for if the media contacts you for any reason. And the ways that I've seen the media contact a contractor in the past is if there's been a serious injury or fatality, if there's been a serious consumer complaint, or some kind of roof collapse or something, but it's never good, right? They're
Right.
never coming to your door saying, "Hey, you're a great contractor," right? So you need the first thing that you need is you need one person, the go-to person in that organization. It's usually management, right?
Mhm.
Then you need to have. I always recommend if there is potential legal liability, run it by your lawyer. Usually, no comment is a good thing because you're not going to win over too many hearts and minds within the press. But to the extent that you do say anything, it's always customer service led. And you say, look, we take these complaints very seriously. We're in the process of investigating them. And leave it like that. Less is all you will spend 10 minutes talking to a reporter and they will take 10 seconds of that and put it in sound bites. So
Sure.
be very, very careful about what you say, and generally, no comment is a good way to go. So
Yeah, because it's always the person that isn't quite sure what to say. They're like, hold on.
right, right.
Well, that's really good advice. So, Trent, and we really appreciate that. What else is making your phone ring right now?
It's interesting, Joe. We keep getting a ton of calls, collections wise, and they seem to be getting more and more complicated, right? And um, owners are finding very creative ways to not pay contractors, and same with prime contractors not paying subcontractors. And what we've seen here recently is, even though construction is incredibly strong, there's still a backlog. And to be honest, I haven't seen too much of a blip, right? Which is surprising given inflation and everything else. But I think some of that money is becoming harder and harder to find. So what we are seeing is prime contractors and owners using contractual set-offs as a way to not pay downstream. Great example is I just had one today. They found a very small provision within the contract saying that a specific type of warranty needed to be provided that didn't quite match what the manufacturer was providing. Not a big difference, but a subtle difference, and they're grabbing onto that to deny payment. My guess is that they're delaying payment until they can get past payroll. But you're seeing I am seeing more legally sophisticated ways that owners and prime contractors are using to not pay trades on a job. So be very mindful that you've got to up your game as well, right? If you've got your customer going legal and really diving into the terms of the contract, you've got to be prepared to speak apples to apples as it relates to that.
Well, it seems like collections is always a big topic and something that all contractors are struggling with consistently. But right now, are you still seeing a lot with customers being slow pay? Do you see that getting worse as we go forward? Is it getting a little bit better? Like
I
what are
think
you
it's gotten
hearing?
worse. I do think it's gotten worse. And the contractors that stay on it aggressively, you can spot a deadbeat a mile away, right? If you're on it
Yeah,
aggressively, you can spot them. And if you spot them, you need to cut them off. You need to stay on them because a squeaky wheel gets the grease.
sure.
So it is the contractors that are so used to having the money come in that they've got poor AR techniques.
Mhm.
They're the ones that are getting burned. And insurance is a great example. If you're in the storm or insurance market and you're dependent upon those insurance proceeds, it's tough because they are not as quick to pay as they used to be. And with these storms coming, I guarantee you we'll have one or two more by the time storm season's done. They are doing everything they can to, slow down that stream of money.
Sounds great, Trent. Well, thank you so much for those insights because we know there's a lot of great contractors out there, and sometimes, you know, there's little things that make us look bad, but it's great to have you on our side so we know what the great advice is. So thank you so
Yeah.
much.
I appreciate that. And contractors, you're gonna have a mistake, right? And it's all
Yeah.
about how do you deal with that mistake?
Mhm.
How do you stand up, you own it and you move on? And it's about, learning from those past problems and kind of figuring out how to do better in the future.
Most definitely. Well, if anybody has any questions, Trent, how do they reach you?
Sure, they can reach me on social anywhere at Trent Cotney or hit me up at email trent.cotney@arlaw.com.
Sounds fabulous. And if anybody has any questions for us, it's roofingcontractor.com or wconline.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for all our free content, especially our e-news, our website, our webinars, and all the great content on our socials so you can stay up to date on interviews, especially like the ones we're doing today with Trent. And most importantly, of course, as always, stay safe and healthy. And we can't wait to talk to you soon. And Trent, I'll see you soon at Western States.
Absolutely. I'll see you there.
Take care. Bye-bye.